So the first
That's why your money long. Baby girl, you should come through in your spare time. Where are you in your spare time?
Hi everybody, it's Layla Sharice back at it again with another YouTube video, and this video will be basically kind of a two-in-one but about the same topic. So first I'm going to go through kind of some tips and tricks as to how you can get a job at 14, and then I'm going to kind of share my direct experience of how I got my job and what I had to do and everything that I had to go through and so on and so forth. But before we get into this video, do not forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you've not already, and I'm doing my outro. And subscribe to my channel if you've not already. Now let's get into this video. Okay, so I want to do a couple of disclaimers before we really jump into the details. First of all, you have to know kind of your state and your state's regulations and different places in your state that actually hires at 14. I have a job at McDonald's. I actually have an orientation today, so I haven't started working yet, but I do have like the guaranteed job, official letter offer, so on and so forth. But not every McDonald's location hires at 14. It's based off of the franchise owner. Some hire at 16. I don't know of any that hire at 18, but I'm pretty sure there's probably some that even wait till 18 to hire. So I was able to get in contact with a franchise that hires at 14 through a family friend. I'm not getting in contact, but know of a franchise that hires at 14 due to a family friend, but not every McDonald's hires at 14. I know McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, and Baskin-Robbins are three places that I've heard, depending on the franchise owner, hire at 14. If you live in Wisconsin, Cops, the local custard spot, is another place that hires at 14, but that's local. There's also places that like locally hire at 14. That's what I'm saying. Know your state, know your city, because there's probably somewhere that's specific to your state or your city that also hires at 14. Number two, this is what worked for me and my brother to an extent. Like, some of the things I had to do that he didn't have to do, but this is what worked for me. It might not work for you, so don't be coming back to my video like I did X, Y, and Z and I didn't get a job. I'm sorry. This is just my experience that I'm sharing with you and some general tips and tricks that might be able to help. Now let's get into the details. The first tip that I have for y'all is to call back. I've seen people say, oh, don't call back, don't follow up, that's annoying, blah blah blah. Like, no. You have got to follow up. You've got to make yourself stand out. These places get multiple applications. Like, I know for a fact that McDonald's that I applied to has multiple, or we'll get to it, but the McDonald's plural that I applied to have multiple applications, because I'm in orientation with another person and I talked to my manager and she was like, I'm sorry, I had to do other interviews, plural. So if you want to stand out, then you're gonna have to do something to stand out. Like, they're not just gonna pull your application and be like, oh yeah, this is the perfect person. Like, no, you have to do something besides just apply. So definitely call back and follow up. I think that the standard time to wait is a week, but you can even call back sooner than that. If you need a job, you need a job. Like, period. Get your job. Number two is have availability. This is something that I've seen everywhere, and places need you to have a flexible to a degree. I'll get into that a little bit later. You don't need to be able to work every day, all day, like 24/7, but you do have to have more than like 1 or 2 days worth of availability. Generally, like I said before, if you have a local like garden shop or something, a flower shop is what I meant to say, ran by like an old lady, she might just need a little help on Sundays, and that can be that, you know what I'm saying? But 9 times out of 10 you're gonna have to have more availability than just like 1 day out the week or 2 days for a short amount of time. So, and even if you put on the application more availability, then you can clarify with the person that you have the interview with, which should be the manager or the hiring manager. You can be like, oh yeah, I put Tuesday from 12 to 5, but preferably it would be better if I did 1 to 4 because of X, Y, and Z. Number 3 is make sure you have transportation. That was a question, one of the first questions that my manager asked. Do you have transportation? And I'm blessed enough where I have like 4 different means of transportation. My grandparents live around the corner. My brother has a car, and both my parents have their own car. But definitely make sure that you have transportation. And that can be public transportation, but you need to know, you know, your bus line. At 14, you probably don't do a lot of like going places on your own. Everybody's different, and like I said before, every state is different. You know, you might live somewhere safer and in a smaller town than I do, where it's not that big of a deal, but you might not know your bus routes and stuff like that yet, and you should definitely learn that before you start working, because even if you do have like one parent that has a car, or even two, they might have to do something else that kind of conflicts with your schedule. So you want to make sure that you have a means to like get to work. So you definitely want to have that sorted out before you get the job. So now we can get into how I got my job and everything that I had to go through. It was a short process. I applied on December 9th. No, I applied on the 9th, and then I got the call back either the 7th or 6th of January. So it didn't take too long for me to, you know, get the job, but it was a lot that went on in that month span. So let's get into it. So a little bit of background on me. I'm 14. I turned 14 on December 8th, and I have a job this early for two reasons. One, my parents provided everything that I need and more. Like literally, I'm low-key kind of spoiled, but I want even more. So I want to have a little bit of pocket change or whatever, so I can, if I see a shirt that I like, just go ahead and get it, you know what I'm saying? And then number two is because I want to move out at 18. Like literally, I want to move out the week of my graduation. Like just give me my diploma and I can dip. Like no games are being played. And I'm also going to cosmetology school, so I can't like live on campus at a college or anything like that. So I want to save up for my future, and I feel like instead of waiting until 16 and only having 2 years to save up, having 4 is a lot smarter. And number three is because, and also I want to get a car, so that kind of all goes together. And number three, for the social interaction aspect of it, I'm homeschooled, so I don't really get to like have as much social interaction as other people, which I'm okay with. Like school, but I'm thinking, why not have social interaction? I can save up for my future and have a little bit of money to spend now, all in one. Like that's the perfect scenario. So like I said before, I turned 14 on December 8th, and I went to a McDonald's location. I'm not gonna use the real location just for security and like safety reasons, and also I ain't trying to shame or bash anybody, because but I just want to tell y'all, you know, my story or whatever. So I'm gonna name peach, apple, and orange. So I applied to the peach location, and I really wanted to work at this location because there is a noodles and company in Qdoba like right across the parking lot, and those are two of my favorite places to eat, and they're cheap, you know, it's like fast food or whatever. So it's something that I can definitely afford, but we'll get into why that's not gonna happen. So I applied to the peach location. I walked in there December 8th on my birthday. Like I'm so serious about this job. So I walked in on my birthday, and I asked the lady, I was like, hi, I'm 14, do you guys hire at 14? She was like, yeah, we do. And I was like, okay, perfect. Do you guys have any applications? Now I literally, like when you walk in, the application like booth thing was right there, but I didn't see it because I'll be a little slow sometimes. So I asked her, I was like, do you guys have online applications or like paper applications or whatever? And she was like, yeah, we have online applications, but I think there's some paper applications right over there. And I was like, there are, I just didn't see them. So I grabbed my application, I left, and I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, mom, I got an application, they hire at 14, blah blah blah. So I also, did I call Chick-fil-A at this time? I'm not sure if I called Chick-fil-A yet. I don't know, but basically over the summer I went to Chick-fil-A and I asked what age they hired, and they hired at 14 too, but I was 13 at the time, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait until I turn 14. But yeah, so I got the application, I filled it out, and then I ran it back December 9th. So I called Chick-fil-A somewhere in between like this and what I'm gonna get to next. So let's just say I applied to Chick-fil-A December 9th too. Obviously I didn't get the job there, we'll get to that a little later too. But yeah, so I got the application, whatever. So I think it was about a week that had passed. So what's that? The 16th? Yeah, maybe the 16th. I low-key forgot, because I was like, I don't even care about the dates. Like I just want to start working, and now I'm not, whatever. So I go back up to the peach location, and I'm like, hey, or I don't think I went back up yet. I called. I was like, hey, I applied December 9th. My name is Layla McMurtry. By the way, Layla Sharice is my first and middle name, not my first and last, if you didn't know. And I was like, hey, what's the status of my application? So they were like, oh, okay, our manager, Amy, should be in tomorrow you can call back between 11 and 2 or whatever. So I called back at 1. Hi, can I speak to Amy? She's not in today. She'll be in next week, Wednesday at so and so and so and so. So at this point, I'm getting a little frustrated because it's like, when is the manager going to be in? Like, I just want to talk to the manager. So my mom was like, okay, maybe we'll drive up there, and you can get a little bit more information as to why, like, she's not here, blah blah blah, if she's not there when you drive up there. So I was like, okay, cool, because the Peach location is also only like 10 minutes away from my house. So you know, it was simple for us to drive up there. We're always up there anyway, so it worked out. So I go into the Peach location. I'm like, hi, I'm looking for Amy, the manager. The girl says, Amy, yeah, she doesn't work for us anymore. Girl, what? So I was just, at this point, I was so frustrated. I'm like, I'm getting a billion and one different stories. What is going on? So I told the girl that, I was like, okay, I called twice asking for her, blah blah blah, and she was like, yeah, I don't know why they told you that she worked here, because she doesn't, but there is another manager by the name of Brittany. So I go out to the car and I call Brittany right away, and I was like, yo, what's good? So her husband answered the phone, and that kind of caught me off guard, and I was like, is this Brittany from McDonald's? And he was like, no, this is her husband who's calling. And I was like, oh, my name is Layla McMurtry, I'm just following up for the status of my application, blah 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 blah. So he was like, okay, well, she's sleeping right now, she'll call you once she gets up or whatever. By the way, she never called me back. So I waited a couple days for her call back, and I was like, this is ridiculous. So I decided to apply to another location, the Apple location, right? So I drive up there. Okay, well, sidebar, I applied to Chick-fil-A, didn't get a call back there, and I called them and I was like, yo, can I speak to the manager? I'm looking for a status of my application. He said they weren't currently hiring. So I was like, okay, well, that's a dead end. We'll get back to that a little later though. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So I drive up to the Apple location, but I first stopped off at Cops, the local place I was talking about earlier, and that specific location hires at 16. So I was like, okay, another dead end. So I was like, ooh, the Apple location of McDonald's is right over here. How about I go here? So on the door they said they hire at 14 and 15. I was like, perfect, this is another opportunity for me to, you know, get employment. It's like, nah. So I walk in, I ask for, because okay, they had the little application booth thing, but there weren't any applications on there. So I was like, yo, I'm trying to apply, but there's no applications, like, what's going on? So the manager was like, okay, I'll grab you one real quick, and I filled it out in the car, brought it back in that same day, like 15 minutes later, if that, like probably 5 minutes later. And I was like, hi, are you the manager? And she was like, yeah, because I didn't ask her if she was the manager right away, but anyway, she was like, yeah, I'm a manager, but would you like to speak to the hiring manager? And I was like, okay, perfect, like, that's even better. So by the way, I think I forgot to mention that Amy was actually the hiring manager, not the regular manager. But anyways, so the hiring manager, Steven, comes out and he's like, yo, what's good, whatever whatever. I gave him an application. He said that he would follow up within the week. He didn't. So I called back and I'm like, or I think I went up there again, because once again it was only like 10 minutes away from my house. And so I went up there and I was like, hi, I'm looking for Steven. And they got me him, and I was like, I applied, what's going on? He was like, oh yeah, you're the girl that applied about a week ago. I was like, yeah. So this is when I really got even more confused. He said that I should talk to the general manager, Chad. I thought you were the hiring manager, and I thought you was gonna call me back. What's good? But I was like, you know what, it's fine, I'll call Chad. First of all, Steven gave me the number to the store. He didn't even give me Chad's personal number, and I was like, okay, what's the point of this? So once again, Chad didn't work there, blah blah blah. So once again, I'm frustrated and annoyed. So I called another location. It was the orange location. And I drive up there, and already it was just way better. Like, I ordered some fries for my mom, and I forgot I said medium instead of large. She was like, oh no, I got you, I'll just give you a large. And they were just really nice people. So I basically explained, once they had hiring stuff all over the store, and I basically explained to them, like, yo, I applied to a bunch of different locations, I'm getting a billion and one different stories. She was like, yeah, we've had some trouble with our managers. We've lost a couple of managers, blah, 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 blah. But if you apply, our manager, Brenda, will be in tomorrow. And you can call back or come back up here, and she should give you more information. She should hire you. So I was like, okay, cool. So I applied and I called for Brenda. First of all, she was actually there for once. And I was like, oh, hi, Brenda. You know, I told her my spiel and she was like, okay, well, if you can come in tomorrow at 9:30, I can talk to you directly. I had the interview. She didn't call back. Once again, I had to call her. And I was like, yo, what is going on? Like, I had a whole interview with her. And she was like, okay, well, okay. So basically I called following up and then I talked to somebody else and she was like, I'm sorry, Brenda's on another call right now, but I'll give you her message. I'll give her your message. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm just following up because we had a conversation a little less than a week ago and I'm just following up to see the status of that. And she was like, okay, cool. So Brenda called me back and she was like, I do want to bring you on. And then I had a whole onboarding process, so on and so forth. And now I am employed. So it can be a lot of back and forth, but do not get discouraged. Just keep on calling until you get somebody that knows what they're talking about and until you get at least an interview and a callback of a definite no, we're not hiring you if you don't get hired, or a yes, we are. So yeah, that's basically how I got a job at 14. Like I said before, you have got to do your research about places that hire at 14 in your state and which franchises hire. Definitely ask family, friends, and just everywhere that you go, just be like, what age do you hire? You know what I'm saying? Because you never know. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you got a little bit of help and some helpful tips from this. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next YouTube video. Peace.